Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we're going to be talking about the NFL draft of 2025 and me just doing a quick, well probably not a quick, a mock draft of how I feel that with the current standings as of November 27th, it is the day of Thanksgiving, day before Thanksgiving. I want to do the video about a mock draft of what, the current standings of how it is, how I think the draft could go if it did end today. So if you guys do enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell to be notified when I post next. Let's get into it. So, at number one, we have the New York Giants. I don't think they trade out of this pick if it ended today. They obviously just cut Daniel Jones. I see them taking a quarterback. And if I think of a quarterback for the New York Giants for Brian Dable, I see Shedeur Sanders. I just don't see Shedeur Sanders going to any other team if the Giants do go number one. I don't see anyone trading up because I don't think the Giants are willing to trade back. I think Shedeur is a very good quarterback for Brian Dable's system. I think he has the mobility. He has a strong arm. He has field vision. The offensive line isn't the best in the world, but I think it's still better than Colorado's offensive line. And I think Shedeur Sanders can actually cook his first year. And I think he's a perfect idea to combat the New York media because obviously you're going to have the Deion Sanders effect and the Sanders name effect in New York. But I think that's a perfect environment for them to pump up Shedeur Sanders and get him to where I think he can be as a franchise quarterback. Then at number two, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. This one I was really debating on how I would like it to go. I'm going to go Cam Ward. I do think Jalen Milroe could go number two. He's my personal second quarterback. But if I'm the Las Vegas Raiders, I have tended to draft and sign quarterbacks like Cam Ward. You don't sign and draft guys like Jalen Milroe. If you look at the tenure of the Raiders, the offense that they have this year is Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. Both of those guys are closer to Cam Ward than they are to Jalen Milroe. They had Derek Carr. There's so many quarterbacks in the last 10 years of the Raiders franchise. And they continue to draft and sign the exact. They had Jimmy Garoppolo, for God's sake. Cam Ward is exactly the type of quarterback that I think they would draft. I think he has the upside of being a good quarterback. I think there are a couple of hiccups in his game he needs to get over. I think he holds onto the ball a little too long. He doesn't have that trigger where if he sees an open receiver, he just takes a shot and goes for it. I feel like he's a little too tentative. Now you can coach that out of him. You can coach him, hey, and over the middle of the field, you got to be more aggressive. You see the open receiver, you just got to throw that 30-yard bomb and hope for if you make a good ball, hope for the best, make your receiver get the ball. I do think that there is a world where Cam Ward does do that, but I just think Jalen Milroe is a better prospect, but I think for the Raiders, he's more of what they would do at the quarterback position. So then at number three, the Jaguars. I do consider trading out of this spot, but if I'm the Jaguars, I cannot let go of Travis Hunter. For me, if I'm the Jaguars, I'm drafting Travis Hunter to be a corner with some wide receiver plays every game. I see Travis Hunter being a lockdown number one corner. I think he's a better corner than he is wide receiver. And with Travis Hunter, you give him 10 to 12 plays a game at wide receiver, whether it's in the red zone, in the middle of the field. Get him, 5, 6, 7 targets a game, and then let him cook on defense. Again, give him 10 extra snaps, more than you would give a normal corner at wide receiver. Let him get 4 or 5 receptions a game or 4 or 5 targets a game. I think you'll be able to make him happy, especially if you do it in the red zone, where Travis Hunter is a pretty big-bodied player at 6'1", 185. I just think Travis Hunter, he fits best in the NFL at corner. Give him some wide receiver plays. Then at number 4, with the New England Patriots, I do make a trade. I think this is where a trade does go down with the Tennessee Titans. I also see the Titans going into next season without a rookie quarterback. So we're going to do 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 4th for number 4 and a future 4th. So they're swapping 4th rounds, and they get 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Actually, this is from 8 to 4. You are jumping the Browns, though, so let's get rid of that seconds. So yeah, it'll be more like this. It'll be 2 firsts, a second, and a 4th swap. I think that's fair. Because I just thought, because you're going from number 4 to number 8. You are jumping through 2 teams that would draft a quarterback. The Browns right there would absolutely take Jalen Milroe if he was available at 5. I am going to force this trade, though. The Tennessee Titans, I do think, will make a trade up. And they're going to then grab Jalen Milroe. I think Brian Callahan would like a Jalen Milroe type of player. Athletic. Every year has gotten better in college. Yes, still would need some more work, especially after this last week or 2 stretch he's had. He's looked really rough as a prospect, but he's a prospect, right? You have Will Levis, you have Mason Rudolph. If you want to sit Jalen Milroe for a year, let him learn the offense, let him continue to develop underneath Brian Callahan. I do see that as a possibility where you retain Will Levis or you retain Mason Rudolph and you let them play, right? Or you let them walk and you sign a quarterback more like Jalen Milroe. Maybe you sign a Marcus Mariota, right? Let him have a year tenure back in Tennessee as a franchise, as a quarterback, as a quarterback. Maybe just find someone a little more athletic. Maybe you grab a Daniel Jones, like the Vikings did with Sam Darnold. You grab Daniel Jones and come to Tennessee. You let him play for a year, try and get better, and you move off him, get a comp pick when he signs somewhere else. That is also a possibility. So I think Jalen Milroe goes to the Tennessee Titans. I think Brian Callahan is a really good guy to coach and develop him. Let him sit for a year, and then in 2026 is where we see Jalen Milroe truly come out as the number one quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Then with the Cleveland Browns, obviously Jalen Milroe slipped right by your fingertips. The pick right in front of you. You don't want to trade up. Yes, the Browns have a lot of draft picks this year, but I see the Browns more moving up into the second and third round to find guys than moving up from 5 to 4. So for the Browns, I am going to grab Ashton Jancy from Boise State. I think the Browns need to go back to that Kevin Stefanski system. Obviously, Deshaun Watson will not be the starter anymore in Cleveland. So I just see them going back to the Kevin Stefanski run-heavy offense, a really powerful offense through the run game, play-action passing. That's what Jameis Winston is doing right now, and it's working. I do see the Browns just going with Jameis Winston for the next few years, have DTR as a backup. Maybe you sign a Jacoby Brissett. Maybe you sign a Sam Darnold or a Daniel Jones as a backup to Jameis Winston. And then you just bench Deshaun Watson, tell him to go home, not to play on the team. So if you're going to do that, Nick Chubb, he's definitely showing his age and he's showing that injury is hindering him. I still think he's a really good running back, but I think Ashton Jancy can be the next guy after Nick Chubb. So you re-sign Nick Chubb, you keep Ashton Jancy. That's a powerful 1-2 punch at running back. We see it with the Detroit Lions, how it's working. We see it with the Buccaneers and Bucky Irving and Rashad White. Dual running backs, when the Cleveland Browns had them, we went to the playoffs both times, right? Whether it was Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, it works for the Browns and this Kevin Stefanski offense when you have two running backs going in tandem. So grab Ashton Jancy. The Browns, I think, will be better off with him. Then for the Panthers, I am going to grab Mason Graham. The Panthers defense is playing a lot better the last couple of weeks than it did earlier in the season. And I think that is mainly because of their secondary and linebacker core. Their interior defensive line is pretty rough. It ain't perfect. Let's just say that. It's pretty rough. I believe it's Deshaun Williams, who is a couple of years into his career, and DJ Wanham. Not the best defensive tackle room. So if I am the Carolina Panthers, grab Mason Graham, by far the number one D tackle in this class. 6'3", 320, dominant the last 2 years. Look at his run stop and pass rush win rates. He plays all over the defensive line, mainly at the B gap though, so mainly in the interior. Grab Mason Graham. I think you won't live to regret it. Then at number 7, let me just give a heads up. This is a very defensive heavy first round for me. I think this first round of the defense is really, really solid. The wide receivers, the offense is very deep. When it comes to all the positions, having a lot of guys outside of quarterback. And the defense is very front heavy. I think the back end of the defensive draft, it's thinner than the offense. So I think you get more in the offense in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth rounds than the defense. So that's why I'm doing a lot of defensive picks coming up here. You guys are going to see this be like a whole run. Then the New York Jets at number 7, I am going to grab Will Campbell to play right tackle. Obviously last year you drafted Olu Fashanu to play left tackle. Drafted Will Campbell to play right tackle. I considered maybe reaching for a quarterback, but I don't see any of these guys going in the first round, let alone the top 10. Garrett Nussmeier, no. Drew Aller, no. Carson Beck, no. Quinn Ewers, no. Curtis Rourke, no. Kyle McCord, no. Jackson Dart, no. Cade Klubnik, no. Dylan Gabriel, no. I just don't see these guys going in the first round. I see a lot of these guys going in day 2, day 3, right? The third round, the second round, the fourth round. I see a lot of those guys going in those rounds. I don't see another first round quarterback right now when it comes to before the draft process starts, before all the pro days. I just don't see a guy rising into the first round right now. Then at number 8, I'm going to grab Ted McMillan for the New England Patriots. So for them, this is great value. They get multiple first round picks, multiple late round picks as well. And all they did was slide back 4 picks to draft the guy they would have drafted at number 4. I think they would have drafted him at number 4. They slide back, still get Ted McMillan. I think the Browns, I think they're good at wide receiver when it comes to the first round. I think the Panthers, they just drafted Xavier Legette, and you have Jalen Coker. You got to let those guys develop. Will Campbell to the Jets. They have Devontae Adams. They have Garrett Wilson. I don't see them grabbing a first-round wide receiver over other needs. I think the Patriots are the perfect team to grab a Ted McMillan, who could be an X receiver day one for them. Then at number 9, with the Chicago Bears, I am going to grab Kelvin Banks Jr. for guard, not for tackle. I am going to be moving him in the guard. He's 6'4", 320. This is the move that everyone expects him to make in the NFL, is Kelvin Banks move the guard. I think the Bears, maybe they play him at tackle, but I think moving him in the guard, this offensive line is very rough, right? You have Caleb Williams running around, trying to make plays happen because this offensive line is not holding up to protect him. The run game can't get going because they can't hold up to let the run game go and not opening up lanes for the running back. So grab Kelvin Banks Jr., really good tackle at Texas. I just don't see him playing tackle in the NFL. Move him in either left guard or right guard. He can start anywhere. You have Tevin Jenkins still starting at guard. You have Matt Pryor starting at guard. Kelvin Banks comes in, starts day one, and improves the interior of the offensive line next to Coleman Shelton. That number 10 for the Cincinnati Bengals, for me, it is any defensive player that is not Will Johnson. I'm going to go Abdul Carter. I think they need more pass rush help more than secondary. They signed Geno Stone. They brought back the safety that went to the Panthers. I forgot his name. They brought back a safety. They have Cam Taylor-Britt, right? They have guys that they've drafted in the secondary they need to develop. They also have guys that they've signed. You have Dax Hill as well. The linebacker core is signed. There's still quality. The defensive line is rough, though. Interior defensive line is okay. Pass rush outside of Trey Hendrickson is abysmal, non-existent. Grab Abdul Carter. He's probably, he's my number 2. Yeah. Right now, Abdul Carter is my number 1 edge. I like Nick Scourton. I like Michael Williams. I like Shamar Stewart. I like James Pierce, obviously. There are guys in this class that I like at edge. Right now, Abdul Carter is my number 1 edge, though. Again, that is privy to change if I start doing more scouting. I like guys more. Abdul Carter at number 10, I think is a great pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. Then for the New Orleans Saints at number 11, I'm going to go secondary with Malachi Starks. I think they need secondary help. They obviously traded Marshawn Lattimore. Their secondary right now, they just cut Marcus May. You have Tyrann Mathieu still starting for you. He is past his prime. Grab Malachi Starks. Start to develop a secondary that is younger, cheaper, and start moving forward with this team. I would like them to trade back if possible, but right now there's no one that I see as trade up value, right? None of the teams behind them would trade up for any of the guys right now. They're going to let whatever happens and draft their guy once you get to number 11. At number 12, I'm going to grab Will Johnson to the Dallas Cowboys. I think they need corner help. Again, the Saints could draft Will Johnson, but I think they need safety help more than corner help. And the Cowboys' safeties are playing pretty solid, but their corners need more help, right? Trayvon Diggs can't stay healthy. Deron Bland's having a down year after having a career year last year. Grab Will Johnson, steady out the position, have Trayvon Diggs go to cornerback number 2, Will Johnson to cornerback number 1, have a really good pairing, Deron Bland back to nickel instead of being an outside guy. Then, the Indianapolis Colts at number 13 are going to grab my number 1 linebacker in Jahad Campbell. Jahad Campbell, man, he is an athlete. He is my JOK of this draft. I think he is a speedy athlete, sideline speed. I love Jahad Campbell. I don't see him not going in the first round. And for me, he has climbed up to a top 15 prospect. By a pretty good margin, he's my number 1 linebacker. I do like, where is he? I do like Jeffrey Bassa. I do like Deontay Lawson, Harold Perkins, he's fallen. Kobe King, Small Mondin from Georgia. There are guys that I like in the class, but Jahad Campbell is the guy that I'm like, yeah, he's a guy that I could build a linebacker core around. And the Colts, they have EJ Speed, they have Zaire Franklin, they have solid linebackers that can play right now. Jahad Campbell's the next guy up. Let him develop for a year or two and let him run free. Then the Miami Dolphins at number 14. I am going to grab a corner in Benjamin Morrison. I couldn't let him slip any further. I thought about him going to, if the Saints would have drafted Will Johnson, then Benjamin Morrison going to the Cowboys. I like Benjamin Morrison. I think he's playing really well. I'm excited to see what he can do in the college playoffs, where the stage is bigger. Honestly, the Notre Dame, they're 10-1. They're good. I think they're number 4 ranked in the nation right now. They're gonna make a bowl. They're gonna make a playoff game. I'm excited to see what Benjamin Morrison can do in the playoffs with a bigger stage, right? Then for the San Francisco 49ers, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to grab Cam Williams. I'm serious, guys. Cam Williams, I see it's Trent Williams. I think he's a very, very raw prospect that if he gets the opportunity to learn from Trent Williams, he can replace Trent Williams in a year or two. He's going to play right tackle. Right now, they have Connor McKivitz at right tackle on a 1-year deal. If Cam Williams wants to come in and start day one at right tackle, you could do that. Or you re-sign Connor McGivitz. You re-sign him to a year or two contract. Have Cam Williams just learn from Trent Williams, learn the tackle position in the NFL, build up a little bit more muscle. He's very agile, but let him build a little more NFL muscle. And when Trent Williams retires, you have Cam Williams right there to replace him. I fully believe in Cam Williams' ability to be a tackle in the NFL. I think the San Francisco 49ers, the way they play football with that run game and the play action passing, Cam Williams is the perfect agile tackle to replace Trent Williams in the future. So yeah, I'm going Cam Williams to the San Francisco 49ers. Then number 16, I'm going to go another tackle in Wyatt Millum to the Los Angeles Rams. Right now, you have Alaric Jackson playing left tackle, and he's playing it very well. The thing is, I don't see him as a long-term option, right? He's been mediocre his career. He's finally having a career year. Sign him to a 2-year contract. Let him play left tackle as you develop Wyatt Millum. Wyatt, really solid year going on right now. As you can see, really good run blocker, excellent pass blocker. He is 6'6", 317. I see him as a future left tackle franchise guy, but for me, I just don't feel comfortable like starting day one with Wyatt Millum. I think he has a prospect, can be a franchise left tackle, but let him get to the Rams facility. We see the Rams are drafting offensive linemen really well right now. The last couple of drafts, they've hit on every single guy that I would have drafted. I loved Bo Limmer. He's been really solid as a rookie. I love Steve Avila. He's been a really solid left guard. Like, they're doing very well drafted offensive line, and I think Wyatt Millum can be the guy to replace Alaric Jackson to finally get themselves a franchise left tackle since Andrew Whitworth retired. Then at number 17, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm going to grab Nick Scarleton from Texas A&M. I think they need more pass rush help. That's the one thing on their defense. Their secondary is pretty solid. I love Zion McCollum. I've loved him since he came out of, I think it was Sam Houston or Houston. It's one of the Houston schools, one of the smaller schools. Came out of Houston, was really good. Secondary with Jordan Whitehead, he just got hurt, unfortunately, but you still have Antoine Winfield, who's just coming off a career year. Solid linebacker play, but defensive line at edge is an issue for the Buccaneers. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is not the player that we were hoping he could have been, so grab Nick Scarleton, a true dominant force at A&M. Just a solid pass rusher, right? Just a solid pass rusher. Get someone in there who can help you raise the floor of your defensive line. Isn't going to be a true game breaker, in my opinion, but he can probably average 9 to 13 sacks a year in his career. That's really good for a team that doesn't have anyone doing that right now. Then for the Arizona Cardinals, you guys know I love him. I'm grabbing Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel from NDSU, I truly believe can be a franchise tackle in the NFL. He's 6'6", 305, and agile like a mother effer, right? Like, he is an agile player. He plays with leverage. He plays with power. He plays with speed. If you ever just want to watch a guy play football and play football well, look at Gray Zabel from NDSU. He's my guy. And the Arizona Cardinals, they cut Kelvin Beachum. He is officially, I believe, on the Chiefs now, actually. But they only have Paris Johnson Jr. and who they have at right tackle. I now don't remember who they put at right tackle. Let me check real quick. Our lads. And then Arizona. I wonder who they have at right tackle. Jonah Williams. Get him out. Get him out. Yep, Jonah Williams cannot play long-term for this team. Get Jonah Williams out of there. Gray Zabel, he can either start at right tackle, or if you even really want him to, he can start at guard, right? You have Evan Brown and Tristan Colon playing guard. Bring in Gray Zabel to play guard. Let him play center. Like, he's a good player. I would play him at left tackle, but obviously Paris Johnson Jr. is there. So play him at right tackle. I've been saying this for the Cardinals for the last 2 drafts since they drafted Paris Johnson Jr. Build a offensive line for Kyler Murray. Build a tackle duo for the next 10 years that can demolish defensive lines. That's what I'm doing when I'm grabbing Gray Zabel. Then for the Atlanta Falcons, at number 19, I'm going to grab finally the edge help they've been needing in Michael Williams. Yes, you keep the Georgia boy in Georgia. Solid pass rusher again. That's where I'm just trying to get someone who's just solid. Right now they have no one generating pressure. He's more of a run stopper. But again, just get an edge guy, develop him. They have no one. They traded for the Patriots pass rusher Matthew Judon, and he has like 2 sacks this year. Like, just get someone with speed who plays with leverage and get to the quarterback. Michael Williams can do that. Again, right now he's more of a run stopper guy, but I think he has the frame to build a little bit more muscle to get around the edges. If he can keep his speed, he'll be able to get that muscle to get, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 sacks a year. And that's better than the Falcons have right now in 0. Like, there's a lot of teams struggling in the trenches on offensive and defensive line. The Falcons' offensive line is pretty solid. They need to help build that defensive line now. For the Commanders at number 12. Oh, I messed up the order here. So this is supposed to be... Oh, yeah, the Seahawks are supposed to be at number 19. So this PFF is out of order. So I went to NFL.com's official draft order and changed it and did my mock draft. And now I'm going off my mock draft. Number 20 is supposed to be a different team. Anyway, we'll just keep going with the guys that I would have drafted. At for Washington, number 20, I'm going to grab Siobhan Revel. If he can come back fully healthy and do all the pre-draft stuff, wouldn't be shocked if he's a top 10 pick. Maybe he replaces Benjamin Morrison as a quarterback number 3. But Siobhan Revel, he is a dominant corner. Just really good at his job, right? Just really good. 6'3", 193, great frame. And the Washington Commanders, they just traded for Marshawn Lattimore. They have Emmanuel Forbes. Grab Siobhan Revel to be your cornerback number 1. Knock down Marshawn Lattimore to cornerback number 2. And you have Emmanuel Forbes be that slot corner. And you have a really good corner room. Siobhan Revel, if he didn't get injured, would probably be battling Travis Hunter for a true cornerback number 1. Travis Hunter would obviously win because he also can play wide receiver. But Siobhan Revel, to me, is one of the best pure corners in this class. I am a very big fan of Siobhan Revel. Then, at wide receiver for the Broncos, I'm going to grab Luther Bird in the 3rd. I think him and Cam Sutton could be really good together. I see a lot of drafts rooms actually having Cam Sutton as a pro comp. Not like the pro comp, but a pro comp for Luther Burden. And I think that's pretty solid. I don't think it's 100% him, but I can see why they see with the route running, the way that he can maneuver when he has the ball in his hands. As you can see, 29 missed tackles forced as number 1 in college football. He is a very jittery wide receiver, and we know this Broncos team needs wide receiver help. You have Marlon Mims, you have Troy Franklin, you have Cam Sutton. Add Luther Burden to be that wide receiver 2, eventual wide receiver 1, and just move Cam Sutton down the depth chart, and he gets even better because now he's playing quarterback number 2 instead of being double teamed. So yeah, Luther Burden to the Denver Broncos, to me, it makes a lot of sense. Then for the Houston Texans, I'm going to go interior defensive line with Kenneth Grant. Right now, the Houston Texans are having a really tough issue with their defensive line. It's guys that they're signing to 1-year deals, 2-year deals, just to fill out their roster and fill out, starters. So like right now, they have Tim Settle and is that David Edwards? I think it's Mario Edwards. Yeah. They have a 31-year-old and 29-year-old, 27-year-old playing D tackle, and they're both playing pretty poorly right now. Honestly, they have Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. at edge, but they need more interior defensive line help. I think if they're gonna get it, they're gonna get it out of Kenneth Grant. Comes in, starts day 1, really solid pass rusher, really solid run stopper as well. Just a guy who can do it all for you at number 22. I would be shocked if a lot of teams above this didn't grab Kenneth Grant. He's kind of slipped right into the Texans' hands. Then for the Seattle Seahawks, at number 23, the Seattle Seahawks, I am going to grab Josh Simmons. So the offensive line for the Seahawks is really rough. It's one of the main issues of the team this year. Josh Simmons, again, another one of those guys like Gray Zabel, who's just a athlete, right? Is a guy who you're scouting and can turn into something, and he hasn't really done that at college football. I see Josh Simmons playing right tackle. Obviously 6'5", 310. In today's NFL, 6'6", 6'7" is more the frame for tackles. 6'4", 6'5", the guards. On a lot of these teams right now. But Josh Simmons, I think he plays bigger than he plays bigger than he is. He plays like a 6'7" tackle. Josh Simmons at right tackle. Charles Cross at left tackle. Abe Lucas is not working out. He's either injured or playing pretty poorly. Bring in Josh Simmons, make him compete at right tackle, and probably beat out Abe Lucas day one at right tackle. If not, you let him develop for a year. Oh, no, what's the issue with that? Absolutely nothing. Then at number 24 for the Los Angeles Chargers, this was tough. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This was tough to do what I would do. Obviously, Isaiah Bond is a lot of guys like Xavier Worthy this year. Very good deep threat, very good route runner. Then Emeka Ibuka. I am going to Emeka Ibuka. I think you have your outside receiver with Quentin Johnston. We see with a good offensive coordinator and a good offense, QJ is breaking out in front of us. Has like 6 or 7 touchdowns this year. I think he's on pace for like 900 yards. He's breaking out in front of us right now. So you have your wide receiver 1. Get Emeka Ibuka to be that wide receiver 2 slot receiver, and just let him get like 100 catches a year. Just boom, think a diamond dunk with the run game, and then one big play to Quentin Johnston for the touchdown. That's what I see Emeka Ibuka being with this Los Angeles Chargers offense. I think he would feast in that type of role with Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. Sorry. And I know Colson Loveland right there. If you guys actually click Colson Loveland trends, 45% to the Los Angeles Chargers. I see it. All right. I see why people do that. He's a good run blocker and a good pass blocker. But I actually don't know if a tight end goes in the first round this year. So the Chargers could just trade up in the second round and get Colson Loveland if that's what they want to do. Then at number 25 for the Ravens, I am going to grab a corner. I'm going to grab a Jahdae Barron. I think Jahdae Barron at this point is one of the best corners remaining. Having a breakout year in college football. They didn't need more in secondary help. He plays outside corner, does not play slot. Yes, a lot of people think, 5'11", 200. That's a smaller frame, a lighter frame. He's going to play slot in the NFL. I think Jahdae Barron could be a very athletic outside boundary corner. They're struggling this year really badly on the outside of their defense. Jahdae Barron can come in, compete day one to be a starter, maybe even win a starting position. If not, again, like a lot of these guys have been saying towards the end of this first round, let him develop. Let him develop. He has the traits. He's a ball-hawking corner. I see Jahdae Barron being a first-round pick. I think the Ravens would be a perfect team for Jahdae Barron to come in and either start day one or compete to start day one. Then for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going to grab Isaiah Bonds. You have George Pickens. I think Isaiah Bond is a really good guy opposite of George Pickens. Again, really good deep threats. Really good route runner on top of deep threat ability as well. The Steelers need a wide receiver. They have Russell Wilson. They have Justin Fields. Wouldn't be shocked if they extend Russ for another 2 or 3 years and keep trying to compete. Bring in wide receivers for Russ. You had the trade for Mike Williams. You have Calvin Austin, who is an okay receiver 2. Van Jefferson's an okay wide receiver 3. You got your wide receiver 1 in George Pickens. And again, Mike Williams, the veteran, who's there getting 2 catches a game. Get Isaiah Bonds. Add a weapon to your offense, especially at your wide receiver room, that you can use in different ways that they use Xavier Worthy in Kansas City. Then number 27 for the Green Bay Packers. I'm gonna reach, right? I'm gonna predict something. I think this player makes it to the first round when it does come to April. Walter Nolan from Mississippi. Listen, this Ole Miss D tackle is very, very good. If you guys look at a lot of the position rankings with some of these more credible drafts analysis people, Walter Nolan is a top 3 D tackle. It goes Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant from Michigan, so both the Michigan guys, and then Walter Nolan or TJ Sanders. I like Walter Nolan a little bit more. I think he can be a nose tackle, D tackle hybrid. You honestly have Devontae Wyatt, and you have Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is getting old, though, and he's not really been playing really well this year. Grab Walter Nolan. The Packers are known to let guys develop, whether it's Kingsley and Ekbare, whether it's I'm blanking on their pass rusher's name that they drafted in the first round, and he cried. Oh man, that's gonna kill him if I can't get his name. It's Kingsley Enagbare and Rashawn Gary. Yeah, Rashawn Gary. So you have Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Enagbare. They both didn't start year 1. They both took a year to develop, or even 2 years to develop, and now they're starters. Walter Nolan, draft him, let him develop, then start him next year or 2 years from now, and just let him develop behind Kenny Clark. And when he does retire, or you need to move on from him because of money, you have Walter Nolan. Then at number 28, the Philadelphia Eagles. Then they get to draft the guy that I can't believe they're going to be able to get their hands on. Princely Uman Meland. I gotta hear his name. I think Walter Nolan and Princely Uman Meland are gonna be a tackle, like gonna be a pairing. You're gonna see one of them go off the board, and within the next 2 picks, you're gonna see the other go off the board. This Ole Miss defensive line, man, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good defensive line. If you guys want to watch some Ole Miss games, you're not gonna regret it. I believe they have a third guy. Oh, I thought I saw they had a third guy that was in this draft. Maybe I might have just been wrong. I might have been wrong. But it's fine. It happens. It happens. Sometimes you're wrong. I am wrong. Okay. I could have sworn Ole Miss had a third defensive lineman that was pretty solid coming out of this draft. But yeah, Princely Uman Meland to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have a top 10 defense, sometimes a top 5 offense in almost every category. So I was looking through stats, and I feel like their defensive line's not getting a whole lot of pressures, right? You have Josh Sweat, who is he's doing pretty okay. I want to say he's doing a bad job. I wouldn't say he's doing an excellent job either. You also traded Hassan Reddick. Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean are doing a really good job filling in and developing. Grab Princely Uman Meland. Let him be either, day one a rotational edge, or you make like 20 plays for him a game. Like Josh Sweat and Uman Meland and Nolan Smith and oh my god, is it? Oh no, I don't think that's his name. There's so many names, man. There's just so many names in the NFL. I'm trying to remember all of them. Is it Zach Bond, or is he a linebacker? Is he a stand-up linebacker, or is he an outside linebacker pass rusher? I think he's a stand-up linebacker, so I don't think it really matters. But yeah, you have Josh Sweat, you have Nolan Smith, you have Nakobe Dean. Those 3 guys are rushing the passer a whole lot. Princely Uman Meland, bring in another young guy to try and go in and compete and earn starting time for this defense and continually add more of that defensive line. I thought about corner, but they just drafted Quinyon Mitchell. They just drafted Cooper DeJean. They also have the safety Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown. So they have a lot of guys that are developing in their secondary. They don't really have a whole lot of young guys in their edge class. And again, linebacker, I don't see another linebacker in this class that screams to me Philadelphia Eagle round 1. Now, I do have a linebacker in this class that screams Minnesota Viking round 1, and that is a guy all the way down here in Smail Mondon from Georgia. Yes, not Jalen Walker, Mondon. I really like Mondon, man. I think he is a very talented linebacker. He is another guy just like Jahad Campbell. I think he's a pure athlete playing linebacker. He is a very powerful hitter, really solid run stopper. Just knows how to play the game, knows how to play inside linebacker. The Minnesota Vikings and Brian Flores, I think, can turn Mondon into a chess piece. I would love to see Brian Flores and the way he schemes defenses, the amount of blitzes he throws at teams. Like, he blitzes more than anyone else in the NFL. Grab Mondon, a pure athlete, put him at linebacker and have him blitz. He would be crazy in this defensive scheme. So grab Mondon, Minnesota Vikings, and Brian Flores, develop him. Then at number 30, this is going to be a championship level team that's drafting good players and developing them. James Pierce, former number 1 overall potential pick, falling all the way to number 30, still ends up in the first round. He's been really good, man. Obviously having a down year compared to last year, but still a really solid year. Pure pass rushing threat. You have Gregory Rousseau, you have AJ Epinesa, you have Von Miller. Throw in James Pierce. Like, I don't see AJ Epinesa coming back to the Buffalo Bills. I don't see Von Miller in another year being on the Buffalo Bills. Bring in James Pierce, let him develop and be a rotation guy year 1 or 2, and have him and Gregory Rousseau for the future be your edge. Then number 31, the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, a team that can just take good players. I'm grabbing Tyleik Williams, though. Yes, TJ Saunders is right there. Yes, I said there's a lot of draft classes having him as a number 4 or number 3 D tackle, but Tyleik Williams, just something about him I really like. 6'3", 327, like just a solid interior defensive lineman. Really good run stopper. You have Chris Jones to be that pass rush run stopper. Let Tyleik Williams take over to Sean Wharton, who's not that good anymore, and let him be the main run stopper for this interior defensive line. Then for the Detroit Lions, I thought about wide receiver. I thought about it. Obviously, it's Alec Anyomanor, Trey Harris, Troy Holton, Pat Bryant, and then at the very top, you have Xavier Restrepo, who I'm a very big fan of. I just don't see Xavier in round 1. I do see this player hitting round 1 though. That being Trey Amos. Trey Amos, really good player out of Mississippi. Again, this Ole Miss defense has been a lot better than I expected, especially the individual players. Trey Amos, surprisingly, is the last Mississippi player to be drafted of the 3 that I drafted. He's probably the best of all 3 of them. But yeah, Trey Amos, very good player, can play outside corner boundary. Honestly, you have Terrion Arnold as your cornerback number 1. Grab Trey Amos to be your cornerback number 2 for the future. You went from a year ago having the worst secondary to the next year having a really good young secondary. So yeah, this is my mock draft for the 2025 NFL season at 11:12 p.m. on 11/27/2024. This is my mock draft. You got 3 quarterbacks going in the top 4 with only 1 trade happening. The Tennessee Titans moving up and the Patriots moving back. Still getting Ted McMillan. Ashton Jeanty goes to the Browns. Abdul Carter slips into the top 10 going to the Bengals. Jahad Campbell goes at 13. Cam Williams goes at 15. Wyatt Millam at 16. Nick Scourton at 17. My probably number 1 surprise guy is Gray Zabel in the first round at number 18, who I love. Javon Revel going to the Commanders, which I think is a more likely pick that's going to happen. Jahdae Barron going to the Ravens. Walter Nolan sneaking into the first round going to number 27. Small Mondin going to the Vikings at number 29. Tyleik Williams and Trey Amos going to 31 and 32. A lot of guys that right now are not being mocked in the first rounds, but guys that I think are going to go in the first round. So if you guys enjoy, please do like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. And if you want to draft someone different, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks. I'll see you guys later. Peace.